Hello, this is Harry. In this video, let's watch an American crime film, Bus 657. Vaughn was the croupier of the casino and was in charge of the security of the vault. He was the best bodyguard and manager of the casino owner, Robert. But for love, he abandoned the life of a gangster and chose to be a little croupier and lived steadily with his wife and daughter. Yet life was impermanent and things were unpredictable. Vaughn's daughter was seriously ill and needed $300,000 to carry out a surgery. But Vaughn's current income couldn't even afford his daughter's hospital expenses. He had to pay the fee before Friday, which was the deadline for doctors to make concessions. Vaughn was mentally broken down, he didn't know what to do. Cox was a waiter at the casino just a few months ago. He knew Vaughn's current situation. He wanted to join forces with Vaughn to steal the casino's money. According to Cox's observation, there was a white man who brought a lot of cash every Thursday night there. On Friday night there would be an Asian man who would win a lot of money. Obviously, this was a means for the casino to help criminal organizations to launder, wash money. Cox's plan was to use Vaughn's password to the vault robbing the black money of the casino, because it was stolen money, so Robert, the boss, could not call the police. But Vaughn knew very well that stealing Robert's money was very dangerous. Robert regarded rules above everything else. Even if someone stole $100, Robert would never spare their life. In Robert's eyes, humanity was as thin as paper, and rules were golden. Vaughn found Robert and wanted to borrow $300,000 for his emergency. But one of Robert's rules was that he never traded at a loss. Robert knew that Vaughn's salary was not even worth the money. Vaughn was very angry because he had worked hard for so many years and what he received was a ruthless rejection. He scolded Robert and was fired on the spot by the bodyguard, Derek. The desperate Vaughn had to join Cox to his robbery plan. Cox brought two companions, Mickey and Dante. They planned to act late at night when the casino guards were weakest. The security would go for coffee at 3:30 in the morning. Cox would be on standby in the casino after work. Mickey drove at the door to meet him. Vaughn and Dante would find potential men for their positions. At 3:30, Cox immediately turned off the power and cut off the security system. They passed the internal security door and went straight to the vault. Since Vaughn had just been fired, the password for the vault still didn't change. In a few moments, they ransacked the $3 million separately. When the security guard came back early, Cox clapped his hands and shot. Derek followed them. The two sides started a fierce gun battle instantly. Mickey outside the door heard the gunshot and thought that his companion was dead. He was so scared that he drove away in a hurry. Not waiting for the three to exit the door, Mickey had already run away. But heaven never bars one's way. The others rushed all the way, then they ran into a bus. They hijacked the bus, took off their masks, and pretended to be passengers. This scene happened to be seen by Derek, who was chasing after them. Unfortunately, a policewoman on patrol heard gunshots. She caught up with the bus and ordered the driver to stop and check. Cox was so violent that he would kill the policewoman immediately. Fortunately, Vaughn stopped in time and didn't cause any disaster. Then a large number of police cars came and set up roadblocks in front of the bus. Vaughn wrote the passenger's mobile phone number on the glass with lipstick. The policewoman immediately called when she saw it. Vaughn used the hostages in the car as a threat and asked the police to clear the roadblock. From the phone, the policewoman could hear Vaughn's concern for the hostages. For the safety of the hostages, the policewoman chose to trust Vaughn. They drove quickly through the roadblock. Under the escort of the police car, the bus drove on the highway all the way. Cox contacted a friend at a small private airport to get him to fly out of the country. However, there was not much fuel left on the bus, so they couldn't go far. Vaughn contacted the police immediately. In exchange for pregnant women and children, the police had to refuel the bus. Robert furiously learned that $3 million had been stolen. He ordered Derek to deal with this matter before the police. At the same time, Vaughn's eager move to save his daughter reminded Robert of his daughter. His wife and daughter left him because they couldn't stand Robert's gang life. Now that Robert was suffering from cancer, he had not many days to live left. He wanted his daughter to inherit the shares of the casino. But his daughter already hated the casino that ruined her family to her bones. She was unwilling to accept this inheritance. Here, the detective asked the policewoman to deliver oil. The police and snipers were arranged, ready to attack. Dante was not treated in time after being injured, he has excessive blood loss, his life was in danger. Vaughn had no choice but to contact the detective to send medicine for treatment quickly. But it was too late, Dante died as soon as the medicine arrived. Unexpectedly, the detective turned out to be Robert's man. He threw a cell phone to Vaughn, and it was Robert who was talking to him. Maybe because of his daughter's infection, Robert was moved. He told Vaughn to kill Cox and then he would give the money to the detective. He would find a way to get Vaughn out of the prison. Afterward, Vaughn could take a large sum of money and flee away with his daughter. Although Robert was telling the truth, Vaughn had been with Robert for so many years, and he knew what kind of person his boss was. He only thought this was Robert's deferment. Subsequently, the detective was thrown off the bus. This made the detective very angry and ordered an immediate attack. The police first dropped tear gas and then intruded from the roof. The two men finally beat the police in the car. The tire was shot, causing the bus to crash and park under the overpass. They were surrounded by the police. On the TV was the news about them. Facing such a desperate situation, Cox jumped over and supported the bus driver and let passengers connect to the live news. If the police did not cooperate, he would kill all the hostages in the car. Suddenly, the gun went off and the live broadcast was disconnected. The police, seeing the robbers weren't joking, they could only retreat. But inside the bus was another scene. It turned out that Vaughn killed Cox to protect the driver. At this time, the policewoman found Vaughn's daughter in the hospital and called. Listening to his daughter's voice, Vaughn couldn't help crying. His only wish was for his daughter to survive, even if it took his own life. With Vaughn's protection of the hostages along the way, the passengers also understood from Vaughn's conversation just then. This was a father who was forced to die to save his daughter. Vaughn traded with the detective. As long as the bus tires were repaired, he would release most of the hostages. Only one would be left, and the last hostage would be held when the destination was reached. The detective could only choose to agree. After the hostages got off the bus one by one, the bus also made its way again. Vaughn had already taken advantage of the chaos and fled among the passengers. The man who drove the bus to lead away the police were the driver Vaughn saved. Vaughn moved all the passengers. No one exposed his identity. But Vaughn did not go to the hospital. Instead, he came to the private airport according to the original plan. Unexpectedly, Robert's bodyguard, Derek, had been waiting there for a long time. Derek made two preparations. First, he asked the detective to try to stop Vaughn, then checked Cox's call records and found this private airport. Derek took Vaughn to that bus before to solve the matter with Robert and the detective. The detective didn't want to work for the gang anymore, and he wanted to live normally. He ended up being killed by Robert. But the money had already disappeared. It turned out that Vaughn planned everything. The pregnant woman on the bus was actually Vaughn's sister. To work with Vaughn's plan, she got on the bus and deliberately delayed the time. From the very beginning, Vaughn emphasized that after getting rid of this, he would part ways. But there were too many picks, causing the other two robbers to also get on the bus. Then something uncontrollable happened. Fortunately, Vaughn sent his sister off the bus early to transport the money to the hospital as a pregnant woman. At this moment, his daughter's surgery fee had been paid. The policewoman in the hospital saw this scene and also understood the truth. Derek was unwilling to be turned around and wanted to burn Vaughn to death on the spot. He was still screaming to catch Vaughn's daughter next. Robert didn't like to listen to this. He could kill the man but could not touch the daughter. So he broke the gun and killed Derek. Robert told Vaughn that his mother had said, if a person stayed with an invitation before death, it meant that their life was wrong. He couldn't save his past for his daughter. He didn't want Vaughn to repeat the same mistakes. Robert gave the car keys to Vaughn and told him to rush to the hospital. The policewoman was also calling at this time. She knew there were 3 robbers in the car, but all the passengers insisted that the only 2 robbers who were reported dead. In this way, Vaughn saved his daughter and Robert let him go. And the robbers known to the police had already died. Well, this video ends here. Remember to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. See you next time.